How do you draw original characters for comics, illustrations, and animations? Well, here's my process. I first start with an idea. What's the character? Why does it exist? I usually start off by writing a brief description of the character like this, or I can just come up with a simple idea for the character, something like Ninja Kid, a kid who's a ninja. That's the idea. I also at this phase ask what style this character is in. Is it cartoony, semi-realistic, or realistic? If you're a beginner, here's a piece of life advice. Start with simple characters first and then move on to complex characters. Once I get the idea, I do what I call the first sketch, where I capture the image I have in mind quickly on paper. I just thumbnail it with the basic shapes and forms, keep it super sketchy, be dirty with my drawing, that's the point right here, and allow myself to fail. I'll tell you why I do this in a moment. Once I'm done with the first sketch, I move on to references, where I feed my brain with inspiration from real life or photographs and stuff like that. You can also take inspiration from other characters from other artists. Most folks do reference phase first and then they move on to like the first sketch or the thumbnail later on. But I do the opposite because I want to capture the raw, non-influenced version of my character that's in my mind on a sheet of papers. And that's why I do the reference phase in step 3. Once I'm done with all these things, I start with the main thing, which is drawing and designing the character. Here's how it goes. I start again with the thumbnails for the character. Keep it sketchy, keep it loose. I start with creating multiple variations. I also this way start using character design principles to build my character. Like construction, I first start out by constructing the character that I want with basic forms and shapes and play with the proportions and create what I call first the base. Once I'm done with this, I move on to adding and then removing details, meaning adding things that I like clothing or kind of clothing, props or objects of hair, and then remove stuff that I don't like. The idea is to keep it simple and clear at this phase and make it serve the purpose of the character, which is why does this character exist? It needs to serve that purpose. I also experiment with the way I draw things, aka style of the character. An eye can be drawn like this or it can be drawn like this. The head can be drawn like this or like this. I experiment with different things until I get the results that I like, and also use the references that I collected at the initial stages to feed this phase. With that, I'll have my first version of my character drawing. Once I'm happy with this, for a 2D character design, I simply ink it, color it with flats, and then add shadows, and I have a good initial design. I can go on from here to draw multiple poses of the character to explore the character even more, expressions, and then even put it in a story illustration to give it more, vibe and setting and all that stuff. So that's how I design character, folks. That's my process. That's it for this week's episode of 2 Minute Tuesdays. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.